How you doing, guys? So tell me what you think about a Bitcoin. Where are we going? Are we going to the all-time high today or not? I want to see your tips. Are we bullish or bearish? Or do you see it as a double top as many people see it right now? Alright, so meanwhile, we will look to the Solana, which is actually the trade I'm planning to trade. I actually entered right now, and I will explain you why and my reasoning and where I think we will go. It's actually the trade I have posted in the Hyro Discord and also in my Discord. Let me just show you. It's this, right? So it was the prediction of this CLS range. I've been waiting for the pullback in here, and that's where I've been planning the short, right? So that's where we are right now. Let me show you. Right, so here was this pullback, and I think we could go lower in here, right? So no worry, we will break down this trade from the scratch, how I came into it from the scratch, as I said. Okay, 111 Rome, right? Okay, we are definitely bullish, 100% bullish. Omega candle coming. I think that also, right? So I'm definitely bullish on my spot positions, and but not opening any trade on the Bitcoin right now in here, right? Why? Because I don't like to buy highs, right? I would like to buy some dips, right? Anyway, so let's go to that Solana, right? Even though it's quite low on the bigger picture, I still think that we can see a drop in here. Yes, the Thursdays are quite often drops, right? So let me just make a copy of this chart because I do not want to delete these drawings. And here we are on this Solana, right? Just for the record, I'm actually in this position, right? I have opened it at the 152, right, and expecting price to drop into this low, right? I think a kind of my position is looks a bit small. No, it's fine. All right, it's fine. It's price. It's not this, right? So you see, now we are $15 in the profit. Oh yeah. Okay, so let's go to break this down, right? As said, I will start from the scratch how I came completely into this, right? So I will going to delete all of these drawings, right? And I will basically draw it again, everything, right? I don't need to remember that because, as you know, my strategy is mechanical, right? So I simply do the always same things. So I should come into the same conclusion, to the same analysis, right? So as always, we start on the higher time frame, right? Which is going to be weekly, right? And as you know, I show it many times. We are looking at the candle closes, right? So in here, we can see that this candle, this red one, has closed below this one, right? So most likely, the price could continue lower, right? So it doesn't mean anything that this candle went higher, right? Because the low of this one wasn't taken. So that could mean that here could be still a liquidity, right? So this candle is basically a range. It's an inside candle, right? So it moved higher without taking a liquidity. So liquidity will be still somewhere lower, right? It doesn't mean that we will go to 100 or something like that, right? We do not want to be predicting such a big targets, and we actually don't need it. Yes, it's a CLS range, exactly, my friend, right? So what we can see in here, right? So price going lower on the higher time frame. Where I moved my mouse again. Right, so price going lower, we have this up candle, right? And from here we break these lows, right? So this is kind of a order block, right? Which is from there we broke through this, right? Then we got rejection in here and price going again lower. In here I'm drawing this level, which is fair value gap and the inverted fair value gap right now, right? So now you can see we have this up down candle, then this inside candle, right? CLS range, as someone of you Mano, call it correctly, right? So this is a CLS range. Now, we have the range, we have the manipulation, right? And we have also taken liquidity in here, right? This high, right? Let me show you. Boom, rejected, right? And what I'm always doing is I'm putting the annotations to my charts, even though I'm using for each element a little bit different color. Sometimes when I come to the charts later, I'm a little bit confused what I actually been drawing in there, right? So it's definitely a big recommendation to put annotation always, so you know what is what, right? Because maybe you have better memory than me, but for me, after a few days, I will not remember it, right? That's why I'm not trading too many pairs, right? And this is a OB, right, or the block, right? So now we need to scale down, right? We have a framework. We know where the price could go, which would be down here, right? Based on the candle closes, right? As I probably shown you many times in my presentation, and I can maybe open it again and show you what I mean, right? It is here, and is this, I'm still repeating it over and over, and it's always good to repeat, right? So in here, we can see the candle is now we obviously speaking about the bearish case, right? This is shown on the bullish, right? So we have the one candle closing, another candle closing above, right? So the liquidity still will be here, right? Yes, there is already opened trade, right? This trade which I'm explaining to you right now, I'm already in, right? Just give me a second and you will see how it goes, right? So we have the manipulation in here, right? This is weekly time frame, so this is a weekly range, right? Again, I'm going to annotate, and then I'm going lower time frame, right? From the weekly, I need to scale down to the 4 hours, right? That's the rule, right? And on the 4 hours, what I'm actually looking for, right? I'm looking for a manipulation. Manipulation has happened in here, right? Now we closing below this candle, right? So what does it mean? It means a change in order flow, right? In other words, order block, right? This is going to be here. Now, as this has happened, price then retested, right? Retested into where? Into this order block, right? And if you don't know into which level, right, you cannot find anything, you can use two levels. It's going to be this, right? Inverted fair value gap, or also you can measure, and that's what gave me confirmation in here is this, right? I measured the whole candle and I put this, right? So it's a exact midpoint of this, right? So let me actually highlight it a little bit for you, make it a little bit bigger here. Line, I'm going to do like this one, right? So it's in here, right? If the daily candle closes just slightly above the previous daily high volume, but volume is weak, do you still consider it valid continuation? Well, the volume is obviously also important, right? So let me just finish this idea and I will explain that for you, right? So now we're scaling down, right? Let me repeat. We have this weekly range, we have the manipulation, then candle closes inside, right? So what has happened in here with this candle, right? Market makers took us above these highs, right? And also above these highs. What they have created in here, they've been buying to sell, right? They're actually running the high frequency trading machines, right? They be putting a lot of orders, buys to sell. Then they sold it, right? And then they need to get rid of these buys, right? So where they do it? Exactly in this midpoint, right? So that's why the price has retraced in here, right? Now, we again can see that in here we getting another order block, right? Which is good confirmation when we close below this one, right? So we don't need now this, and also we don't need this, right? I'm always trying to keep my charts clean, right? Now I'm going to drop to the M15, right? And here is where we've been, right? We have all these higher time frame levels as our protection, right? You can see M15 went lower, right, rejected, retested again, and breaking lower, right? And that's where I have actually entered in here, right? And I'm putting stop loss above here, right? And I'm targeting just 2RR, right? That's what is my trade, right? So it is running in here, right? And it's slightly in the profit already, right? So this low would be perfect, right? It's a M15 low, right? M15 low in here, right? Okay, it's a little bit different, right? So it's going to be somewhere here, right? Right, so, and that's the trade, right? So basically going from the higher time frame to the lower time frame analysis until I find a trade, right? Also it can extend all the way up to the 50% of this, right? And even if you want to be even more precise, and if you measure from this low to this high, let me measure that, right? And then on the daily, right, the candle which take us strongly from discount to the premium below its low can be a stronger level, right? So we actually could be targeting even this, right? Now about this target, right, look, it's a 3.5, right, into this level. You really don't need such a big trades, right? I mean, at least you should be taking some profits, right, on the way down, right? So the first profit should be on the 2RR, right? That should be what you should be targeting, right? 2R, then here 50%, then here something in here, right? So that's the way how to trade, in my opinion, if you're trading with the trailing drawdown, right? So let's see how it's going to go. I'll just leave it open right now. So I have explained the trade which is open right now. It's running slightly in the profit, so we have entry at 152, 1.8. It's just 1 point, so it's slightly lower right now, right? So let's see if the rule of the Thursday dump is going to be playing in here, right? Mostly when I do the streams on the Thursdays, crypto is dumping. So let's see if it's gonna happen today, right? All right, so now I'm going to check the questions. Do you open the trades? Yes, trade is open. Same on Ethereum. So we will look at this after I answer all these questions, right? Is called CLS low, yeah, low-key good, safe and decent setup. Hey, finally go. Hello. What projection do you have for the BTC next week, sir? Yeah, we will look at this also. BTC, Ethereum, stay. If the daily close slightly, yes, so this about a volume, right? If the daily candle close slightly above with the low volume, it is a little bit, I would say, lower probability, right? So let me show you volume here on the trading here, right? And we need to go, okay, let me actually show it here, right? If we put volume, right? Basically the price action should be confirmed by the volume, right? I used to be trading volume a lot, right? And what you basically want to see is that if the price is going higher, like this move up, right, you want to see volume on the lows, right? So you want to see volume here, right? And then also you want to see volume here, right? Then you see this candle in here was with the big volume, right? So what does it mean? Bigger volume in the liquidity pool, right? So that means closing, right? Because you don't want to see volume here on the tops, you want to see volume here on the lows, right? So if we got a strong volume in here, that most likely the price could continue higher, right? And you can see here we actually seen the switch, right? We have seen bigger volume down here, obviously, to push the price higher, right? And in here the volume was low, right? Wasn't that much supported, and then next volume is on the highs, right? So it's confirming that we might go lower, right? And often, more often than not, price comes back into the levels where the strong volume was, right? And as you can see, it was actually in here, right? In here is the candles with the strong volume, right? So in the uptrend, you won't see down candles with the big volume, because when the price is dropping lower, right, when the market maker is pushing price lower, they actually bringing the volume, they buying lows, right, always. And it's not happening in here, right? And on the highs, it can be closing volume, right? So you see how by looking at the volume, how it makes sense, right? Also, the volume is showing a quite significant levels, right? You can see this down close candle was with the high volume, right? And you can see where it broke through this up candle. So you had the up candle and then down candle with the volume, right? So this is basically a order block. It's a level, right? You see, so you can come into the levels by using the volume, and also by not using it, right? But it's definitely good to use volume. However, I'm not using it anymore, because I got enough information even without it, right? But definitely, if you use that, it's I would say, if there is one indicator that I would ever use, it would be volume, because it's the only one thing that can tells you the future, right? All the other indicators telling you a little bit different way to see what has already happened, but the volume can tell you what's going to happen, right? And mostly what we see in here is it's basically a tick volume, right? It's not the volume based on the contracts, right? But it's a tick volume. So in here you see where you have these high candles, it means that the price has been changed more times than on the other candle side. But it's enough information. It's enough information to predict the future, right? Based on that, if you put this, right? And about the volume, actually, there is a great book. There is a great book which is called. I might have this book. It's here. I have this book in here, right? It's called Anna Calling Volume Spread Analysis, right? And there is a lot of pictures and explanations how to use volume. Let me show you. It's actually one of the best books, right, in here, right? So you can see, right, if the price is going higher, the volume should be increasing, right? That's what you want to see, right? If going lower, you want to see rising volume, right? And then there should be, right? And in here you see, if the volume is going higher, right, but the volume is failing, that means that this move is not supported with the volume, and most likely price will retrace, right? So that's a great book. I can post it for you in the Discord later, right? If you're interested, guys. Okay, so I assume where you have a big money. David, do you put stop loss above the previous loss, or have you executed your stop loss strategy? Previous loss, right? Well, I put stop loss. In this case, I'm putting it in here, right? Because as we have seen, this level was already tested, right? So how I'm thinking about this, right? You see, we have this, it's a daily, it's a weekly range, right? So we have this weekly range, and what most likely has happened in here this week, right, when this price went higher, right, above this week, we can assume that many traders entered in here, right, a FOMO, right? Basically, they've been thinking that the price will go higher, right? So what's happening here right now, right? They are probably in this trade because they have traded the breakout, right? And where are these breakout traders positioned, right? They traded breakout in here, right? Expecting price going higher, thinking it's finally out season, right? So what then happened, right? Price went lower, right? For the stop losses, for those who have them in here, right? But some people will put stop loss even here, right? So that's why we could assume that the price can drop lower, right? We don't need to go all the way down here, right? Even though price will most likely go there, right? But for us, it's enough to have this information and to know that these people are in the trade, right? So now if you look at it this way, if these entered here, right, then what? Then they are trapped in the trade, right? And I can assume that most likely price will not give them the chance to exit. So the price will most likely not go up here. But we also reject that in here, right? In this CLS high and also this order block midpoint, right? So, and we're seeing this change in the order flow in the lower time frame, right? So for me, in this case, I'm using a lower stop, right? Is it going to be hit, or is it gonna, or are we gonna win this trade? I don't know, right? It's just a probability, right? So yeah, that's how I would answer it, right? I answer wherever you have big money. I don't know what to say, right? Yeah, I got some money, right? Hello, sir. Can you look? Okay. Do you use moving averages? I used to use moving averages, and it was a moving average 50 and 200. I think I am, because these two are, in my opinion, quite nice to tell you a little bit about a trend, you know, and give you also the direction, right? So basically, I'm not going to add them, but I can draw for you, right? So basically, in here, most likely, this is a 1 hour. You're probably gonna have a, as it retrace it in here, right? So you're probably gonna have a moving average 50, right, doing something like this, right? And maybe moving average 200 is going to be, because it's calculating the average from the 200 candles, right? You need to know what it's doing, right? So from the 200 candles, let me measure how many candles it's this. So it's a 100 candles. So probably moving average from the 200 candles will be something like that, right? So so maybe a moving average 200 is going to be still down, right? And 50 may be going higher. Right? Actually, we can test that, right? Let me show you. I would use EMA, right? EMA. Let's see, because I'm also curious. Double EMA, moving average expression. Okay, so it's already here. Okay, so let's put 50, and I always use exponential, right? EMA, length 200, close, right, close, right. Right, so you can see this one is, okay, so it's a 200, right? And here we have a 50, right? Now on the higher time frame, we can see, right? This is a 50, so that's what I was thinking, right? So we have the 50 going lower, right? But we are below this one, right? Now, I cannot say that it's bad strategy, right? None of the strategy is better or worse, right? You need to just master it, right? So any indicator can be used if you simply spend enough time to master it, read it, and find your situations, right? So yeah, moving averages are not bad, I would say. Well, however, I'm not using them. I have tried many things in my life, and right now I feel comfortable just doing it as I'm doing it, right? Looks like how to avoid getting chopped out when the daily bear says continuation, but New York session creates a fake move. Thanks always for alpha. You welcome, my friend. All right, so let's go to Ethereum right now, right? And let's check what's going on in here, right? I got some drawings. Let's delete it, right? And let's do the same process as before, right? So in here, in my opinion, it says sell, right? I just look at it and I see it, right? Why? We have these candles going lower, right? Then we have this big candle going higher, and let me show you, right? So here is this gap, right? We need to close above this gap to be 100% bullish, right? For now, we're having this rejection, right? Let's go lower time frame. So, right, so this is monthly, and we can draw this range in here, right? So you see this range was manipulated, price closed inside on this 50%, right? Are we going to go lower to fill the model number 2? I'm not sure. Let me check on the higher time frame, right? And on the higher time frame, we can see actually this, right? We have this range, right? Manipulated from the low, price closed inside, right? So what's the true, right? What you should trade? This monthly or this 3 months, right? Higher time frame has a bigger force, right? So if the higher time frame is bullish on the lower time frame, it's not wise to go bearish, right? So I'm going to delete this, right? This is our framework in here, right? Here's also the levels, right? So it's coming from a level in here, right? So we are bullish on the monthly. On the weekly, what's going on in here, right? We have this on the weekly. I had short in here, short term, right? So you see we have again the range manipulated, and then price dropped into a 50%, right? That's enough, right? That's enough for continuation higher, right? So in here I would not be entering short, right? Let's go daily, right? Price moved higher. Here we have this manipulation, right? Now we are in here, and we need to get through all of this, right? So we're getting rejected in here, right? So again, does it mean we will go lower? No. But look what's happening here, right? We have again the range which is trading in this higher time frame order block. If we draw a midpoint of it, right, are we gonna, right, almost, how does it look on 4 hours, right? Didn't reach this one, right? So it's not actually exactly on the level, right? However, let me check, right? Sometimes you need to look a little bit more deeper. We have this daily, last up candle, on the weekly. On the weekly, we still can count with this as a level, right? But what's the problem? What I really don't like is that trading from this level, because this level was tested once, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know. So now betting on the another rejection, right, can happen, right? However, it's not a highest probability. It's not what I would be looking for, right? Where I would like to really deploy the money, right, and to enter that, right? Oh, this looks good, right? What's the Bitcoin is doing? I see Solana dropping nicely. In here, kind of the setup is forming, right? However, as we have this key level and this range, this manipulation above it is not deep enough, right? It's not deep enough, right? I would like to see like a bigger manipulation, right? A little bit bigger. And here is that key level, right? So in here I would not be entering, right? Because we already in the Solana, right? So it's not necessary to expose yourself into another trade, right? It seems like it start to drop, right? Let's see how it goes. Now let's look to the Bitcoin, right? What I was actually a little bit expecting is to retest of this level, right? Which didn't happen in here, right? So maybe we can get it. How I was actually expecting it here was, I was sharing this analysis here, right? I had actually entry on this trade, and then I was thinking the price can go higher, retest this level, this one in here, and then continue to all-time high, right? So let's see how it played. You see, so price went higher, been consolidating, dipped, but not into the level, right? So now's the question, right? If they attracting buyers to buy this breakout, which will obviously create what? It will create a stop loss cluster in here, because many people will buy this breakout and they will create a stop losses here, right? So then the price can drop lower and continue higher, right? And here is that key level, right? You see how they left a little bit gap in here, right? So we have order block created in here, right? And now they left the gap in here, right? And also we have this gap, this inefficiency in that order block, right? So that's where I was expecting the price to drop lower, right? And quite often happens that if they leave this, so what has happened in here, right? Look, you have breakout of these highs, right? Now traders entering long in here, right? Expecting this going to higher, where they put stop loss, obviously below this low, right? So what actually could be the market makers creating in here, right? They could be engineering liquidity in here, right? By making this false break, right? Now if they will come lower in here, there will be much more liquidity than if they don't do this fake breakout, right? So if we put all of this into the context, right, and again we draw our range in here, which we can perfectly do, right? We can see on the daily that we have the daily candle, right? Now price made this false break. Now we need to go 1 hour, right? And on 1 hour we need to see close below a last up candle, right? Let me show you. So here we have it, right? We have this last up candle, right? We just manipulate it, and now once we close below this, because we have this nice manipulation, right, then there will be a possibility for a setup, right, in here, stop loss a little bit higher, right, and shorting down here into this 50%, right? That would not be the best one. Let's try on M15, right? We can see on the M15, if this candle, which is closing in actually in 10 minutes, right? If that candle closes below here, right, you can have already entry on the M15 with a tighter stop, right? And you can be targeting this, right? And it can give you 2.2, right? Look at the Solana, it's already dropping, right? See, we got 700 profit now on the prop account. 750, right? So easy, right? It's quite easy, I would say, for me, because I'm doing it still this same one thing over and over, right? So not jumping from strategy to strategy, but still doing this same thing, right? So now it brings you the conclusion, right? And it's drawing the whole picture, right? So as we see that it's already happening on the Solana, right, in here, the same thing already start to playing out on the Bitcoin, right? Then maybe it can play out also on the Ethereum, right? What is this Ethereum here, right? M15. Right, look, we already could have a close, right? If this candle closes below, right? Let's go, my friend. Yeah, of course we are in a trade. Right, so if this candle closes below, right, then it can do what? Then it can retrace into the inefficiency, right, which is here. Right, so basically your stop could be safe, right? And the best entry would be in here, right? If you get this pullback right in here and targeting this 50% of that range, right? That's a small target, right? You don't have to be greedy for this. Just the model number one, right, into the 50%, right? So let's wait. We have a 9 minutes until this candle closes, right? And might we will enter the Bitcoin and also the ETH, right? So I'm going to leave the ETH here. and we have a 10 minutes. And here is going to be a Bitcoin, right? So what's the difference between model number 1 and model number 2? Yeah, so basically ranges, right? CLS ranges. I call it CLS ranges because in my theory there is a market maker called CLS, which is actually trading 7 trillions on the markets, right? And I think they're also involved in the crypto, right? So basically when they create a big candle, right, as they trade 7 trillions, in my opinion, they've been involved in this move, right? Now, when they want to fill the orders, right, they most likely will be doing it by manipulations. That's why it's all happening, right? And I will say more of these informations in my free basic trading camp, which is going to be released soon, probably next week, right? So they're doing still this playing out, right? And in here, as we have a lot of gaps in here, right, they most likely will fill these gaps, right? So this is a model number 1. After the manipulation, right, price dropping down into 50%, right? If you use the correct time frame alignments, right, you can frame a trade and you can basically look for this, right? This model number 1 is enough to be successful, right? Then if the price drops lower, right, gives you this model number 1, and at some point it will start to retrace, right? Then you do one simple thing, right? But you need to be doing this in the correct higher time frame bias, right? Which is, in my opinion, in here the up, right? So then you do one simple thing. From the high to the low where the price stopped, you put the fib, right? And you put a model number 2, right? In here, you will be looking for a entry, right? For the level between 67.8 and 0.8, right? So basically now we are going to trade. So now basically we are going to trade the creation of this order block, right, and trade from that. Then later, right, that's what the supply demand traders are doing. They are trading the retest of it, right? It's ideal if there is any high, right, which will be taken. So basically at this moment when this low is broken, traders entering shorts, right, price moves lower, they are all happy, and then it can comes to take out this high, right, and then price can reach all the way down, right? But for this model number 2, you need to be correct with the higher time frame, right? Because model number 1 can play also the counter trend, and it's enough to trade this, right? That's where is most of my focus and most of my successful trades, right? Not trying to look and predict the markets with the big directions, right? Not these moves which are looking sexy in the community that you hold at the big move, right? No, just this how to call it, right? Like these sniper shots, these easy targets, right? Something what has highest probability for me to happening, right? And how do I know it? Let me show you something in my trading journal. So let me take you to the trading journal now. And look, I'm obviously journaling all of my trades, right? Solana, BTC, right, Link, all of these trades, also some Forex trades. But anyway, it's not important. Everything is chart for me, and I can trade anything, right, with my strategy. So now here we have my trading journal, right? And let me actually use this pen. So where is this pen? If you're coming to my morning streams, you know that I'm always fighting with this tool. I just want to draw to my screen, and it's here. Okay, so without drawings, right? So in here, right, watch me. I'm everything what I put into my journal goes into this my statistics, right? That's basically the most valuable data which you could have as a trader, right? In here I see how my models are successful, right? What days are most profitable for me, what session is most profitable for me, what type of the key level is best for me, what type of the liquidity from which time frame, right? What CLS ranges are for me the most profitable, right? Now, based on almost, let me actually check how many trades I got, right? Here is my trades, and if I put all, look, so that's basically all the trades I have taken, right? And I have all the data, right, about the trade, what time I traded, what was it, right? So I have 108 trades journaled in my journal, right? So now let's go back to the statistical overview, and in here I can see that, look, daily CLS range, right, and the weekly CLS range, and 4 hours I have the highest probability, right, 66%, daily 76, right, 4 hours 91%, right. Now look, model 1 72%, right, win ratio from 81 trades, right. Model number 2 35%, 35 trades, 65% winning ratio, right. Now also I can see which days I'm most profitable. Look at the Monday, just a 50% winning ratio. I basically stopped trading Monday. That's what the data tell me, right? Now also in here, 78% profitability on the New York session, right? Just 56 through the London, and 91% through the PM session, which is actually the night, but it's just based on the 12 trades, right? So I need to collect more data to have the better information, right? We have the 1 minute to the candle close. Let me check, right? So here we have the Bitcoin. If we close this candle and it closed below, right? So the Bitcoin is, in my opinion, ready for the short in here, and it didn't close so strongly, right? It would be better if it will be a little bit better close, right? And Ethereum, here is the Ethereum chart, no, Bitcoin. Yes, here is Ethereum, right? So you see, also closing below, right? So once we close below, you enter on the next candle open, you put stop here, and you are targeting this, right? That's the setup, right? That's a 1.8. You can extend a little bit, and now let's go execute, right? So we can see this one is already running in the profit, and now let's open the short on the Bitcoin also. I will go with quite small quantity. I don't want to put more than 20k in this, right? And stop will be 1.10. We will put stop on the 1.10, right? For the short 1.10, we can a little bit increase, right? So now my risk will be 1000, right? Which is a 0.5% on this 200k, right? Because I'm going to open 3 trades right now. Confirm, right? Let's short it. Let's dump it, right? This is what I always do, right? I set up stop loss, I set up my entry, right? And then I'm just going to adjust my target, right? That's what I'm going to do later based on my analysis from the trading view, right? So my target is here, it's a 107,427, right? 107,427, which is down here. I think I'm okay in here, right? So let's try it. We have now Solana running 700 profit, and we just entered the Bitcoin, and let's dump this Ethereum shit, right? So the stop will be 200,620, right? Always start with knowing where is your stop, right? So Ethereum, right? What is this? Some trade, not sure. I actually didn't execute it even. Anyway, so you want stop loss target, right? Short. What was the stop? 206.20, 2006.20, right? Again, I'm going to risk 0.5%, so now I can increase position a little bit. Okay, 1000, it's a 0.5%, and I got stop loss, and I'm going to short it, right? M15 has closed below in here, right? It should be better if there is included like some bigger gap, right? But anyway, let's try it. Let's look at it on this one, right? So in here we have seen gap, right? So anyway, let's short it in here. So we have the stop, right? We have this, and we're going to put a target, right? Which is going to be 2,490, right? That's not bad. Risking 1,000 for the 2.8 thousands, right? I quite like it, right? So you can see the position starting to move. I'm keeping just a leverage to 1 to 10, right? We will see how these trades will develop. At this stage, what I'm always going to do, look, we have added the trades, right? And that's not the end, right? What we have to do at this moment is this, because we have July, right? I need to go here. July, I have some trades which I have already did in here, but I didn't put all the data in here. But you know, when I'm like not having a time for doing that, I just put the screenshots, right? So I have the screenshots of the past 3 trades which I taken recently, and right now I'm going to add all these which I have taken today, right? So we got what? Today is Thursday, right? Right. Ticker is Solana, BTC, right? And ETH, right? I need to adjust it a little bit here, and I need to add my here what everything I want to see. It's going to be a session CLS range, key level, setup type, right? Right, setup type, CLS range, right? So now let's see how they're gonna develop. Meanwhile, I'm going to put all these informations, right? Solana is dropping nicely, right? This one looks really good. So let me show you. This is a very important part of the trading right now. Right, this is kind of what I always need to have in my journal, right? So I copy the image. And now here in this Solana, I'm going to open this, right? I place that, right? And now I'm going to fill everything, right? So it's a weekly CLS range, right? Year is 2025, year Solana date is today, direction short, session New York, setup type model 1, hard time frame key level. It was actually this inverted fair value gap, right? Entry level order block, right? Results running. RR, what is RR? It depends where we close it, right? The RR, I'm not adding the RR of the target, but how it ended, right? So once it's going to be done, right, I'm going to add it, what was the RR, what was the result, right? And same thing I do for all of these, right? So That's the Solana. I have taken now the screenshot from here, and I also need to take this, right, because it's a 4 hours, and I want to have as much information as I can, right? So I'm going to take this screenshot also, because the important is to review your trades, right? If this trade is not going to work, right, I will then work with it later also, right? And I will learn from the mistakes and try to avoid them later, right? I will try to dissect what could be done better, right? If I should wait maybe for some confirmation, and many of these things, basically all the informations about the trade, right, and what I can actually improve, right? That's your work as a trader, and that's what you need to do, right? And everything what I have filled in here actually goes into that statistical overview, which is giving me this information which I just recently shown you, right? So that's Solana, right? Now Ethereum, right, like this. So we have basically what I want to know, right? Here we have a key level, right? We have daily CLS range, right? Daily CLS. So I'm going to take this screenshot, right? Going to put it here, right? From the bigger picture, right? So I can see this information in here, right? But also what is important for me from the daily when I'm taking the trade, I want to see that on the 1 hour, right? Which is a key for me for the entry on this, right? And again, I can see, yeah, I think we're going down to 2485, right? Something like that. So then I need to see this also, right? Just a little bit so it looks nicely, right? You must love it, this drawings, right? And copy image, and then I go here, right? And I got high time frame picture, lower time frame picture, right? And then again, daily CLS range, year 2025, right? Date, today, right? Direction, short, session, New York, setup, model 1, right? High time frame key level, it's a order block, entry level order block, results, running, right? Risk reward, I don't know, right? I know, I mean, I don't know. It's always minimum 1 to 2, right? So I have 1.82 in here, right? Then you can, you know, I mean, 1.8 and 1 to 2, it's like almost, you know, I mean, what I'm trying to do is always target somewhere around this 50%, right? Where the price often goes, as I already explained, right, from this low to this high, if I measure and I simply put this, right, it gives me this this thing, right, like a discount and premium, and price often goes down here below this candle, right? So that would be a target, right? What I could do is to go with a lower stop, right? Stop could be in here, right? To just to improve it to 1 to 2, but I already have placed the position, right, with the 1000 risk, right? So you see all the positions are kind of running right now. Ethereum $150 profit, Solana 800, right? Bitcoin $72, right? So let's go back. We have everything what we need to know in here, right? I have analyzed, I have executed, I have put it into the journal, right? Now I have done everything from my trader side, right? Now it depends on the market, right? I cannot do anything more. Now let's look to the Bitcoin, right? And let's do the same thing on the Bitcoin, right? So here it is, right? And again, let's go here, right? And look what we have. So we have again the CLS range, right? Here is unfilled level where the price is most likely going down here, right? And basically I'm trading this CLS range, right? And just into the 50%, right? I do think that we might go lower down here, but here it's a high probability for me that it's going to happen, right? I don't need to be impressing anyone in the communities. I want to get out from the market in the level where it gives me the most, the highest probability, right? So that's the target, right? Now, again, taking a screenshot in here easily, right? And then going here, right? We have the Bitcoin, right? So here is this, right? So I have a bigger picture time frame, bigger picture, and also I want to have a smaller. So from daily, the confirmation is on the 1 hour, right? And you can see I got exactly all what I need to have, right? So I have this, right? Daily CLS, right? I have beautiful manipulation, right? I have close, candle close below this candle, right? So it's a 1 hour confirmation. This is our order block, and this is also the breaker, right? This candle. Now we have also, we don't know yet, but on M15, no. Anyway, this is a M15, right? So on the M15 we already bearish. Now we also bearish on the 1 hour, right? It's confirmed in here, right? And we targeting this 50%, right? Was the RR? It's a 1.1 to 2.15, right? So it's not bad. Let's see how it goes so the 1 hour, right? 1 hour should be the correct one, right? I'm going to extend this drawing, actually not this one, but I'm just going to extend this drawing, right? I don't need to have this, right? Boom, right? That's what I'm looking for. Right, and I'm going also take a screenshot on the M15 because it was a little bit a confirmation for me in here that it already closed in here, right? So I'm going to put annotation because we entered already in here, right? Right, as much information as possible, because at this moment now thinking, right, well, why he's giving so much information? Because next time if this trade will work, my goal is to repeat it, right? And maybe if this works, right, I will know that if this already starts to happen on the M15, I could have slightly better entry than waiting for the 1 hour candle close, right? So that should be your goal as a trader, to constantly try to improve by collecting the data, right? So that's what I'm putting into here, but I'm going to write M15 OB played before the 1 hour, right? And that's it. That's what I have right now about the trade. Then one the trade, and again I'm going to do all of these things, right? So it's again daily CLS, right? 2025 date is today, right? Direction short, right? Session New York, right? Setup type model 1, right? High time frame key level. There is actually, what is actually our key level in here? Right. So what is actually key level? Did the price went above these two highs? No, it didn't, right? So what is a... You see, now when doing the journal, I realized that maybe, what is the key level in here? Actually, I've been looking for these highs, right? So here we have these highs, right? Old highs, right? On 4 hours, up candle, right? Yeah, so it could be old highs, lows, right? Highs, lows, right? Level. Not quite often the level which I'm taking, right? Entry level is OB, right? Like a confirmation, right? And results is running, and RR I will fill up based on the where I will close the trade. How can we access this template? This template is part of my trading academy, my friends. All my students, this is what they get as a first thing, right? So look, all the trades running in the decent gain, right? So maybe there's going to be again, there's maybe going to be again a Thursday dump, right? As usually with our streams, every Thursday price is dumping, right? So here's a Solana. There's a chance, a high chance that this is going to happen, right? We will see. Here is a Bitcoin, right? Also, not looking for anything big, right? We have a chance that it's going to drop, right? And then we have the Ethereum in here, right? So keeping it in a play, and let's see how it goes, right? And we did everything what we need to do as a trader. We did the analysis, we journaled, right? We have good risk management, right? And let's see how it goes, right? This is a USDT dominance, right? Which is, in my opinion, acting as an exact opposite of the Bitcoin, right? And in my opinion, it has a chance to go higher, right? At least into this 50%, right? Because you see we have the, again, nice CLS range in here, and we have the model number 1 in here, right? Now we're having a manipulation in here. Look, it's from the weekly, right? So we have manipulation in here, right? Look at the daily. We have a this, right? So it's a daily CLS range. This is what we're trading on the opposite on the Bitcoin, right? And it has a chance to go in here, right? Maybe even higher, which would be a model number 2 on this bigger picture, right? But that's what we don't need to predict. This, for us, this 50% move is basically this 50% move down, right? Sorry, it's this other chart, right in here, right? And it's nicely starts to go lower, right? You see Bitcoin going lower, Solana dumping, right? So not bad, right? I would say. What you think, guys? Anyway, I would close it here. We have 3 trades today already running in the profits, and we did the journaling, right? I obviously need to finish my journals for these trades in here, right? Was some forex trades, and that one I'm going to do later at home, right? Final question which I want to answer was about what I think about the Bitcoin or the long term. And I think we're going to go higher forever, right? So basically, you see, what I want to show you in here, right? We had this parabolic move in here. We have parabolic move in here. Now we don't have parabolic move, right? Now we are moving in this channel, right? There is a lot of these institutions, right? So it's not going that fast, right? Now the question is what we're gonna get in here, right? If the price will go slowly, then probably there's not going to be any big dump, right? But if we're gonna get into some parabolic stage in here, right, then most likely we're gonna get bear market, and in that bear market the price will retest the previous highs, which is 70k, right? So if we go, let's say 250k, and it's going to be parabolic move, then I would not be surprised if we retest this, right? Because look, in here also we had the 2017 20k high, right? Then the price created new high, and easily this 20k, it was actually 15k, right, was retested, price going higher, right? So it makes sense that kind of something like that could be happening. However, there is a one thing which we cannot underestimate, because there is a last 130k bitcoins on the OTC desks, right? When all of these bitcoins are out, then there will be supply crunch, and these big players will need to be buying in the exchanges, which will be really affecting the price and pumping it higher. All right, my friends, so this is it. I would close it here, and let's see how it goes, right? In my opinion, it has a chance. Maybe we just need to break lower down here, right? Okay, bye bye, my friends.